Good afternoon. This is the news. The Institute of Education in central London is in shock this afternoon at the discovery of a 22-year-old female found dead under her ARF. Our reporter at the scene, Brian O'Hanrahan, has more.
Okay, so hello, I am Brian and I'm here to see what has happened. And if we look closely, this is the ARF. Use your pen to open it up. Number one. Number two, this is where the body was laid. Thank you very much. This is Brian from the scene of the crime.
Thank you, Brian. We are now able to bring you two exclusive interviews with eyewitnesses from the scene that may be able to shed light on this intriguing mystery.
Okay, so you discovered the body.
Yes, I did.
What was the first thing you saw?
I suppose the first thing I saw was probably the feet. The body was lying, sort of away from the door. So when you open the door, when it opens in that kind of fashion, then I suppose the first thing that you catch sight of is the feet, really.
Okay, and what was the next thing you saw?
I suppose it would have been the trousers.
Okay, and what came next?
Well, went through the logical progression, belt. No, it was a female body, wasn't dress. Top, legs. Although, of course, I just realised the terrible truth. That this was really a really heinous criminal act of murder. One doesn't really expect to see in these kind of educational venues, such as, prestigious ones, such as the Institute of Education.
Of course, and what about the ARF? What do you make of the ARF?
Well, I've never really liked them. From the minute I first saw one, I thought, well, I don't really like the look of you. But then, I got to know mine. We formed quite a bond. I thought I could trust them. But, really this has shaken my whole faith in the system.
PGCE student, can you please stop and give me a minute of your time and tell me something a little bit about this disastrous murder?
Well, I heard about it. I mean, there's 700 of us carrying them around. I mean, we're all so scared and we've all found it so challenging. We don't know what's going to happen.
Thank you very much. Which part of it is so challenging? Can you tell me a little bit more?
I think probably the QTS tracking is the worst. I mean, there's the lesson observations, there's a midway review, but it could be anyone next.
It sounds terrifying.
Yeah, very terrifying. It could be anyone.
Thank you very much for your time. Back to the studio.
We will, of course, be bringing you more on this story as and when we get it throughout today. In other news, the weather to further developments on this very story. There has been a second murder. Brian O'Hanrahan is at the scene.
Here we are in the Institute of Education Library and we have another death. What are we going to do next? Over to some eyewitness statements.
What parts of the ARF do you think may have been a contributing factor in this death?
Well, I've got my suspicions on a couple of sections, to be honest. That score-based study, you can't trust it, it's dodgy. What else have we got? That midway review always catches people out. That's a suspicious part.
Do you think either of these would have been capable of the act that we have so terribly come to understand the full impact of?
To be honest, yes, I do believe it could have been that midway review.
Really? So if pushed, you would say it was the midway review?
If I had to say one, then yes.
Okay, so that's really breaking news here. We've got somebody saying that it was probably the midway review. The midway review, thank you. You've just been in the room. Are you a witness to any of these activities that have happened?
Yes, I saw there was a black folder and there was pages and it was so quick and it was so devastating.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, well, no.
What are you going to do now?
I'm going to run for my life in case I see it again.
Okay, well, quickly.
So we're still unsure as to the exact culprit in this mysterious crime. So in the meantime, please, PGCE students, remain vigilant as to... So, ladies and gentlemen, we're still unsure as to the true culprit in this crime. But please, PGCE students, remain vigilant at all times with your ARFs.
Okay, is that? So just as you say, vigilant.